I'm your host, Davida Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits, Reach Personal Success on a Daily Basis. And the purpose of this podcast is to inform you about relationships, mental health, also the lifestyle that you live. And even though finances is not something that I regularly talk about, I think that this is an important topic. And it's titled Smart Money Moves to Make During a Recession. Often, when times are going good, we don't think about having multiple streams of income so that when one source dries up, you have other sources and you keep a consistent income. Sometimes I wish I could go back to the simple times of barter trade between moving to a different continent and losing one of my biggest clients just before the most expensive holiday season. I thought my finances were bound to take a dip, but would soon get back on track. Sadly, it didn't take long for me to realize that I might be in a financial crisis for a bit longer than I had anticipated. Being the curious individual that I am, I took on a further interest in the economic world and then realized that I am not alone. The cost of living is skyrocketing, and it looks like it might be going through a recession. I hope not as bad as 2008 was. A lot of people are struggling to make ends meet and below, or rather, in this presentation, we are going to give you some tips that might help you get through the tough patch. So there's 4 ways to financially prepare for recession. Make your dollars stretch. While the cost of everything around us is increasing, the last thing that will change is usually your salary. It almost always never seems to catch up with the expenses while we wait for that to happen. The best you can do is improve how much further your dollar can stretch. In some cases, it might need to change the food brands that you buy. There are some excellent quality food brands that are cheaper, so don't be quick to write off something simply because it is cheaper. Remember this, that if you go into the store brands, they're often made by the same company that makes the major label brands. The only difference is what they're doing is they're white labeling it for the, the grocery store in their name. When you buy one cheaper product and save a few cents, it might not seem significant, but remember, those cents add up. And at the end of the month, you might realize that you have saved a bit more than you could imagine on groceries. Make use of loyalty cards. Most stores now have those, and each seems to work a bit differently. Some give you points that can later be redeemed as cash and used towards your next shopping, while others simply give you a lower price when you have the card. If you document your expenses, you might realize that this will help you spend less on your shopping. Plan your meals in an attempt to rescue yourself from the horrible financial pit. You might find yourself working longer hours or even picking a second job. The change in your work life balance means that you will not have enough time to cook, let alone think about what to cook. As a result, you might turn store bought, pre cooked meals into takeaways. Here I will not go on about the extent to which this diet can be healthy. Rather, I will focus on the financial impact. These convenient meals tend to cost way more than a meal that we make at home, and that extra cash could be used towards something else. So, next time you plan your schedule for the week, consider going a step further and planning your meals as well. This means that you can do the required pre cooking on time and you will not get stuck in the loop of deciding what to eat every single day. Planning meals in advance will, in turn, reduce your chances of buying takeaway, meaning less money will be used on food. Get rid of your high interest credit card. When you have a credit card, your main job is to pay it off as soon as possible. If there is a global financial crisis, interest rates will likely increase rapidly, meaning that you will have to pay more. Should you have multiple cards, getting rid of the ones with the highest rates first will make a difference to your financial status. In a case where you are unable to pay off all your debt, you can explore other ways, such as a credit card balance transfer or consolidating your debts into one place that might help you lower the interest rate. Consider getting another source of income. I understand the importance of having a good work life balance. We aren't our jobs, and there is a need for us to have a life outside of these jobs. Sadly, these jobs give us the ability to pay for all our necessities and luxuries, and sometimes that money can go from them is simply not enough. With the increase in cost of living, there might be a need for you to consider getting a side gig. With freelance working on the rise, there is a possibility of squeezing in a few extra hours a day to make extra income. Also, a lot of companies are considering hiring freelancers in comparison to traditional employees, so getting a side gig might be as hard or might not be as hard as it seems. Moreover, with the significant layoffs happening at large teach and media companies, it feels like I am always on edge. While I hope for the best, having a side gig allows me to prepare for the worst because should I get laid off, I would have saved a bit of money and will have another source of income to fall back on. Another thing to think about is passive income. And what is passive income? It's residual income that you've built up over time that you put an effort into building up. And then over time, what is happening is that you're getting a steady monthly income from it. If you have rental property, if you have various multiple streams of income coming in, then that is considered passive income. A recession won't be the end of the world. Considering the recent COVID pandemic, the possibility of a recession is not a surprise. High interest rates, increasing gas prices, and high inflation are some of the signs that we need to do something to prepare for the worst. The intensity of a possible recession is still unclear, but there is no harm in being prepared for anything. Making small changes to how you live your life might help you adjust to the changing financial situation. Don't be shy to carry a packed lunch to work. Use public transportation. Cut down on your subscriptions or go to a less fancy holiday destination. You have a life to live and bills to pay, not a community to impress. If it is your responsibility to create a life that your future deserves, do makes your life more comfortable in the long run. And moreover, as we go through such a challenging phase, it is okay not to be okay. And remember that recessions don't last forever. I remember many years ago talking to someone who worked with Earthlink. And what he did when he lost his job with them, when they did a big 60,000 layoff, well, what he looked at his skills. And part of what he did was that he started creating websites for plumbers and people who didn't have websites. And then he would help market them. And then he set up a 30-70 split where he earned an income for doing their marketing for them and getting them business. Then, because part of his job was maintaining the computers, he also went out and repaired computers. And based on the distance that he went, that is what he charged. So there's always ways to create an income for yourself if you learn how to do it the right way.